Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host Tom Downey, and the NFL Draft is almost here, so it's time for one final Cowboys Mock Draft. And you guys know the deal for the most part by now, but remember, we're only looking at players who are actually on the board in our draft simulator, and I'm projecting what I think the Cowboys would do. Not what I would do, not what I would do to make you guys happy, but what the Cowboys would actually do. There is a focus here on the pre-draft visits, and obviously we're not going to get all of these right. Heck, if we get one or two right, we should be pretty darn happy. So we'll start things off in round 2, pick number 58. Here are the 5 most notable guys on the board. Sean Bunting, a Chris Richard type corner. JUAN THORNHILL, who many of you know by now. Same with Andy Isabella, a speedy slot receiver. LJ Collier and Jalen Ferguson both didn't test that well, but both have that speed to power conversion to collapse the pocket from defensive end. But in round 2, number 58, I'm going to go with JUAN THORNHILL. I think this is the most likely possible outcome. And what I mean by that is, I think he'll be there, at least there's a good chance he'll be there. And if he is, I think the Cowboys will take him. Now, most of the safeties were off the board at this point. I think Darnell Savage was there, but I don't know if the Cowboys are actually going to go that route. But Thornhill fits what the Cowboys want in A, a safety, and B, a general defensive player. Really good athlete. Makes a lot of plays on the ball, high production. I love the idea of Thornhill at round 2, pick number 58. If he's there, this would be a home run pick for the Cowboys. But also make note, he was one of their pre-draft visits. Therefore, he is definitely on their radar. And of the Cowboys' past 15 first-round picks, I know it's second round, but still kind of gets one across, 14 of them were a pre-draft visit. And for Thornhill, I think he comes in right away and is maybe not your day one, but I think would very much likely be your week 1 starter at strong safety. He and Xavier Woods can both play up and down. That's a really promising pairing for a group that, frankly, hasn't had much investment in recent years. So to get a safety in round 2, that's the ideal route, at least for me, I think for the Cowboys as well. Now, you'll know the pick once we release it here on our main YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll be live for all 7 rounds of the NFL Draft, and I'll let you guys in on a secret. We'll have the picks before ESPN and NFL Network do. So, hey, if you want to know the Cowboys pick first, make sure you're subscribed, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Move then to round 3. We'll get to TRYSTEN Hill because he might actually be the fallback option in round 2 for the Cowboys. We didn't have him in our top 10 list. Maybe I should have. Dawson Knox, surprise tease there, but makes some sense. Damon Harris, the Cowboys like him. They brought him in for a pre-draft visit. JUAN Williams fits as that lanky Chris Richard corner. So does MECOLE HARDMAN, who's a receiver. For me, it came down to 2 players. Maybe 3, because Damon Harris was there, but I don't think they'd go running back. But I think they definitely could. MECOLE HARDMAN makes some sense as a long-term slot and return guy. But if TRYSTEN Hill is there in round 3, I think he'd be the pick even over Damon Harris. I like his motor. There's some great flashes on film. And frankly, he was UCF's best defensive player last year. But he did not get along with the coaching staff. That's a big red flag. I think the Cowboys have made peace with it, but it's something just to make note of. So Hill could maybe be a sleeper option in round 2 if the Cowboys don't get the guy they want, if the safeties are gone. But if he's there in round 3, I think he makes a lot of sense. And I think he is higher on the Cowboys board than Gerald Willis. And for Hill, he comes in and is your long-term Malik Collins replacement. He's going to be a free agent after this year. Same with Antoine Woods. Tyron Crawford, his future long-term, a bit up in the air in light of partially the arrest he had down in Florida. So Hill comes in, is a rotational player in year 1, and becomes a starter in year 2. At pick 90, look, that's pretty much what you want to get. You're not going to find, in most cases, a day 1 starter at number 90 overall. But there were 3 guys there that intrigued me, so which one would you want? It's 3 H's as it turned out. So type D for Damian Harris, T for TRYSTEN Hill, and M for MECOLE HARDMAN. I don't think there's a wrong answer in that group. I think Dallas might go with TRYSTEN Hill. I'm real tempted by MECOLE HARDMAN, but I also know in round 4 there are going to be running backs and receivers that are better relative to the defensive tackles on the board. So let's get then to round 4, pick number 128. Justice Hill is there. Miles Boykin, surprise tease there. Same with Stanley Morgan. Taven Coney's there at linebacker. And there's also Devin Singletary. So for me, I'm looking offense now. I think the Cowboys would too. And I think of that group, I know many of you might want Justice Hill, but Devin Singletary is really intriguing. Neither of those guys were a pre-draft visit, but Singletary was incredibly productive at FAU. All kinds of touchdowns, all kinds of broken tackles. He was dynamic as hell. And then at the Combine, his testing was terrible. It didn't make any sense to me. The guy that made all these guys miss was one of the worst testing athletes at the NFL Combine. Now, he might have put on too much weight. That could be an issue there. But in round 4, the tape makes it worthwhile. And for the Cowboys, look, they got to invest in a running back. Now, some in the fake news media might tell you, Cowboys took a running back, they're going to let go of Zeke. Not exactly. And in reality, if you want to re-sign Zeke long-term, the best thing you can do is draft a running back and give him the ball. Because you cannot give the ball to Zeke 30 times a game this year and next and then re-sign him. His body's going to break down. There's no way he can sustain that level of workload. So for the Cowboys, getting a running back makes sense. Singletary might be undersized, but I think he'd be a fun complementary piece to Zeke Elliott for the next couple years. So I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Which running back would you rather draft? Type DS for Devin Singletary or JH for Justice Hill. Obviously, I went with Devin. I think the Cowboys might go that route as well. But again, there's no wrong answer here. The difference between a round 3 and round 4 grade, if that's how you have those guys graded out, really isn't all that much. So for running backs, either of those guys makes sense. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Then time for the other round 4 pick, the Cowboys' compensatory draft pick. 2 receivers on the board, Miles Boykin, Stanley Morgan still there. Then there's Derek Thomas. I think it's a little early for him. Bobby Evans, the top OT on the board. Drew Sample, the tight end the Cowboys brought in, also there. I'm going to go receiver now. And I like Miles Boykin a lot. But I do think Stanley Morgan is a player that the Cowboys might like more and might be a more natural fit. A little bit tested like Marquise Lee. He would be your 2020 slot receiver. Randall Cobb might not come back. He's a free agent, 1-year deal anyway. That would give you a core of Amari Cooper, assuming he's signed, which I think he's going to be re-signed, Michael Gallup and Stanley Morgan. All those guys have some inside-outside flex. I think if the Cowboys want to build their roster, I think they'd prefer guys that are a little bit faster and can play inside and out. That was the general MO in their pre-draft. The guys they brought in are either speedy guys or they're slot guys, and Morgan kind of fits the latter there. Now, Boykin I am down with as well, but I think Morgan's an underrated prospect who would be a great fit as a number 4, number 5 receiver in year 1 and gets vaulted into a more traditional starting role in year 2. Now, today's show is brought to you guys by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code on your screen, Cowboys120, for a 120% deposit bonus. They've already got NFL draft prop bets up there. Go make some money on there. There's plenty of good bets on there. Hint, it's going to be more than 3.5 quarterbacks. That's your first teaser there. Chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code Cowboys120 for that sweet deposit bonus. Round 5 of Divine Azigbo's on the board there. I like that, but you're going with one back, so maybe you don't go that route. 3 guys the Cowboys brought in. Drew Sample, the tight end, Derek Thomas, the cornerback, and Cole Holcomb, the linebacker. Now, I think Sample's the better player. Cowboys might feel differently, but I think they prefer to go with the tight end over the cornerback here. We'll get to Cole Holcomb later on, hint, hint. But I went with Drew Sample for the Cowboys. Now, maybe you guys don't want to go tight end again, and maybe Sample doesn't bring you the same athletic upside as a Dawson Knox or a Jay Sternberger. But in round 5, in most cases, you're not going to find an instant impact starter. You're going to find a backup. That's what Drew Sample can be, a lesser version of Will Dissly, who, by the way, was way better as a pass catcher before he got hurt than I thought he was going to be. Now, Sample was mostly used as a blocker, and I think in the end he fits more as a tight end too. So there is the concern of, well, now you've got Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, Drew Sample all there long term. It's kind of some overlap. But remember, a decent amount of round 5 picks don't make it in the NFL. So you're going a little bit more of a higher floor, lower ceiling type guy. Maybe one's your tight end 3. Maybe Blake Jarwin does emerge. Either way, Jason Witten, he's got, I think, maybe 1 more year left. Maybe get 2 somehow out of him. So the Cowboys are looking at tight end at some point in the NFL draft. Now, should they draft one? I'll let you guys chime in here. Give me a Y for yes, N for no. We haven't mocked that many tight ends here on the Cowboys Report, but with Sample there in round 5, who frankly he might go in round 4, I think it made some sense there for the Cowboys. If it wasn't Sample, I would have gone with Derek Thomas, who unheralded, but definitely fits the Chris Richard mold at cornerback. Let's go then to round 7. Bryce Love there. I think he could slide because of some medical concerns. Bruce Anderson, interesting, but late round 7. Let's just sign an undrafted free agent at the back position instead. Mitch Hyatt, who might have been an All-American, but actually isn't very good at playing tackle. Tim Harris, who fits that Chris Richard mold. And then a guy we've mentioned before, Cole Holcomb, the linebacker out of North Carolina. He's my pick here in round 7. You can tell me the Cowboys pick him in round 5. I wouldn't be that surprised, quite frankly. He fits what the Cowboys like at linebacker. Really good athlete, great tackling production, isn't the best developed in terms of shedding blockers and reading, but he checks off the size, checks off the speed, checks off the production. Now remember, we're here in round 7. He's not going to come in and start. He could be your Joe Thomas replacement after this season. So you bring him in, maybe he makes the roster as your number 7, your number 6 linebacker, somewhere in that range, and he becomes a key special teamer and backup. And in round 7, if you tell me, hey Tom, the Cowboys are going to get a guy that sticks on the roster for 4 years or so as a backup special teamer late round 7, that's a fantastic pick. The expectations are not he's going to be Leighton Vander Esch 2.0. It's that he's going to be a guy that can help you as a bottom of the roster player. And as a really good athlete, I think Holcomb can be that guy. So I like that idea there for the Cowboys, assuming he's, of course, is there in round 7 to take that special teams type focus. Now, obviously, we didn't get any offensive line help. I guess we'll worry about that last year. But remember, the Cowboys only have 6 picks. They're going to have to figure out what they want to do on that front in terms of making the most of their draft selections. If they don't trade down, because we didn't project trades here, that's just way too complicated. But if Holcomb's there in round 7, that sets the Cowboys up really, really well for a long-term look at linebacker. At that point, you're in good shape from depth and your starters. Even if there are some injuries, you're going to remain in pretty good shape there for the Cowboys. So I like the idea there, going Holcomb in round 7. Now, we'll also recap this here for you guys in just a second, in case you missed it earlier. All 6 picks of the Cowboys' final mock draft. JUAN Thornhill goes off the board in round 2. TRYSTEN Hill, who I think I might have underrated as a potential round 2 pick for the Cowboys, in round 3. Devin Singletary in round 4. Stanley Morgan also in round 4. You got some good depth, some good starters there. And then Drew Sample, a possible tight end 2 down the road for the Dallas Cowboys. And then the underrated Cole Holcomb, who's a good athlete, very much a sleeper in this year's NFL draft, off the board in round 7 to the Dallas Cowboys. So you're taking care of your safety need, your defensive tackle need, your long-term receiver need, your long-term backup running back need, and then some possible depth guys in Drew Sample and Cole Holcomb. So grade this final Cowboys mock draft. Obviously, I give it an A. I did it. I think this is a good draft for the Cowboys, but let me know what you guys think. And remember, I guarantee if any of these players get picked that you don't like now, after they do get picked by the Cowboys, you'll have changed your mind and you'll have given it an A. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.